Did you think that we were done? Today's video here, right after the NFL draft, I want to take a look at my top 15 undrafted free agent signings so far. Usually I wait until about Monday because some guys do get signed on Sunday, but there have been some incredible impact players that have already been signed, and I definitely want to talk about it. And this video actually did really well last year. I didn't expect it to, and I'm assuming the same thing here because these guys, a lot of these guys that were undrafted free agents, I thought not only were going to be day three picks, but some of them I even thought were going to be day two picks. So it was pretty shocking to me that some of these guys made it all the way to undrafted free agency. There might be some underlying issues that we're not aware of at the present time. That could be it, but there were a lot of names that surprised me. So we're going to look at 15 today. Of course, just like every top 10 or top 15 that I have for the most part, these are in no particular order, just the 15 that I thought stood out the most. The first one I want to talk about here is Bo Braid. Bo Braid from Maryland signed with the Baltimore Ravens. I think that this is an incredible pickup for the Baltimore Ravens here. Right away, you fill in that third safety spot with someone that probably could have been drafted. I was thinking Bo Braid after day two. I was like, all right, well, he's going to be one of the first guys off the board on day three, and he made it all the way through somehow. This, to me, the way that some of these safeties made it to undrafted free agency kind of makes me think because of how strong the free agent market for safety still is to this day in the NFL, with some of the top safeties still not signed. That's what made me really think, oh, well, this is going to push a lot of these guys out. And this was a real big surprise. I had a third round grade on Bo Braid. So, like I said, maybe there's something underlying that we don't know, but that was a really big shock to me. I thought at least someone, I mean, the Green Bay Packers took Kalen King over Bo Braid. I know that they play two different positions, but with Kalen King's lack of speed, he's probably going to wind up playing safety if he does get playing time anyway. This is a perfect fit for the Baltimore Ravens. They really fill out that third safety spot that was left by Geno Stone. Now you have Kyle Hamilton, you have Marcus Williams, now you have Bo Braid as well. They always seem to find a really good third safety. You think Deshaun Elliott as well back in the day. So I love this pickup for the Baltimore Ravens. I think he's going to make an impact quite early on. All right, now we move over to my second player, and that's Javon Cohen, and he signed with the Cleveland Browns. I love this logo, by the way. I don't actually know if this is the primary logo for the Cleveland Browns now, but I think it should be. That is such a cool logo to me. I had to use it even if it wasn't the primary logo or not. But Javon Cohen is someone that I had a fourth round grade on. Uh, Kind of same deal. There was just such a deep talent pool for the offensive line in general in the 2024 NFL draft. Tackle was insanely deep. I think we had 19 offensive tackles taken through the first three rounds, was the most in NFL history. It's kind of the same deal with the interior offensive line. Some guys went a lot later than I thought. Christian Mahogany was a sixth round pick. I had a third round grade on him as well. Cohen is someone that's draft stock was up and down throughout the entire draft cycle, but I did expect him to at least get some consideration on day three. I think this is a fantastic pickup for the Cleveland Browns. They definitely need offensive line depth. Interior offensive line depth is paramount for them, and they got a really good one in Javon Cohen. So this is someone that I feel like is just one of the better quality backups in the NFL right away, with the potential to eventually one day develop into maybe a starter at some point. So I love the pickup from the Cleveland Browns. And then we go over to the Carolina Panthers, who not only had a really nice draft, I think that they did really well in undrafted free agency as well. This is Jaylen Coker, wide receiver out of Holy Cross. And I expected him to go on day three as well. A lot of people, I think you could say the consensus, really thought that Jaylen Coker was going to be one of those small school products that made his way on to day three. This is a fabulous pickup for the Carolina Panthers. Get as many weapons as you possibly can for Bryce Young. They did that in the draft as well. They drafted Jonathan Brooks, Xavier Leggett, Jatavion Sanders. So they're really bolstering their offense for their young franchise quarterback in Bryce Young. And Jaylen Coker is someone that I think I could see playing quite early on for the Carolina Panthers. I think he kind of weaves his way in to take some snaps away from Adam Thielen as well, maybe even Deontay Johnson. He's a spark plug. I think that he's going to be in Carolina for quite a long time. I really liked this pickup by them. They did a fabulous job at undrafted free agency. More on them in a little bit. So now we move over to one of my guys who I had in one of my top 10 underrated players in the 2024 NFL draft. And this is Curtis Jacobs, linebacker out of Penn State. The linebacking class wasn't really as strong as past classes. I think it was one of the weaker classes in as a whole for the 2024 NFL draft, but I really thought that Curtis Jacobs was going to be a early day 3 pick. I was thinking round 4, round 5. He is a fantastic addition for this Kansas City Chiefs defense. They lost Willie Gay. I fully expect him to stand right in that spot and compete for snaps right away. He's athletically gifted. He's a little bit smaller for the position, I'd say. I think 6 foot, 228 pounds around there. That could have pushed him slightly down the board, but he's a good coverage linebacker and he's a great tackler as well. Two things that in today's NFL you really need to be. So I was a little puzzled as to why he fell to undrafted free agency territory, but as I always say with the Kansas City Chiefs, whenever they make a draft pick or a signing, the rich just get richer. And this is someone that I think they could truly take advantage of in undrafted free agent territory. I was curious as to why they didn't add a linebacker through the draft. So I'm thinking maybe they had their eye on Curtis Jacobs for a long time, kind of knew he was going to fall to undrafted free agency territory, and then offered him a contract. But this is a really, really nice pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs, in my opinion. And then my boy, Carter Bradley. I was shocked that Carter Bradley made it to undrafted free agency territory. And I believe I was watching the ESPN broadcast. Maybe it was Field Yates, I want to say. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he brought up a really good point saying that the NFL seems to be in this nebulous when it comes to the NFL draft where either you're a day 1 quarterback or you're going on day 3. The day 2 quarterback is becoming obsolete at this point. And it's true, if you look in past drafts, we've really seen dwindling day 2 quarterbacks. There was 138 selections in between number 12 and 150. I know how to do math, between Bo Nix and Spencer Rattler. And I really do think Spencer Rattler could have went a lot earlier than the 5th round there at 150, but it holds true. I believe Michael Pratt had to wait all the way to the end of the 7th round as well to be selected. So it's holding true that these teams kind of view these quarterbacks as, if you are not a first round talent, we are not taking you on day 2. But I love Carter Bradley, and I love the fit for the Las Vegas Raiders as well. Bradley, 6'3", 216 pounds, a cannon of a right arm, is comfortable in the pocket and outside the pocket as well. And in a wide open quarterback race between Aiden O'Connell, between Gardner Minshew, I think Carter Bradley is a sleeper. I'm not going to say that he's going to win the starting spot, but he is a sleeper to potentially win that backup spot. I'm telling you, I really do believe in this guy. I think he has all the intangibles to be a solid NFL player, and I think that the Raiders got a steal here in undrafted free agency territory. All right, grainy picture, so I apologize about that, but the Minnesota Vikings, I thought, had an A draft. I thought they were perfectly aggressive, moving up for J.J. McCarthy, moving up into the first round for Dallas Turner, or moving up in the first round for Dallas Turner as well. They had a great draft from top to bottom, and they had Gabriel Murphy as an undrafted free agent. And the Minnesota Vikings are one of those teams that take their undrafted free agents very, very seriously. We look at Ivan Pace Jr. last year, turned out to be an absolute stud as an undrafted free agent, someone that I had a late day 2 grade on last year. Gabriel Murphy was someone that I figured was going to go some point late. On day 3, I was thinking round 6, someone would take a flyer on him, especially since he was decently productive last year and he came with a ridiculously high RAS score as well. He's a very, very solid athlete, comes with NFL-ready size. I was surprised no one took a punt on him in round 6 or 7, but the Minnesota Vikings land with a really, really nice outside linebacker, edge rusher, hybrid type of player in Gabriel Murphy to add to their already growing pass rush. You think Dallas Turner now, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel. You add Gabriel Murphy as someone as a rotational, situational pass rusher. I think that's a really, really awesome addition for them. And then we're moving over to the New England Patriots here, who landed Charles Turner relatively fast. I think Charles Turner was one of the first undrafted free agent signings right after the draft ended. But this is someone that I had a 5th round grade on for the most part. Those LSU linemen are really solid players, at least going into 2025. We'll talk more about that at a later date. But I thought Charles Turner was someone that definitely warranted a draft pick on day 3. But the New England Patriots did a really good job of building up their offensive line. Caden Wallace, Layden Robinson, I thought were 2 picks that might have been reaches, but I thought that they were necessary as well. And for Drake May, they went almost all offense in the draft. I believe Marcellus Dial was their only defensive player selected throughout the entire draft. So it's a full commitment to revamping this offense. I think Charles Turner is someone that might play a part in that at some point, offers just really, really nice depth on the interior of the offensive line, probably going to make the roster as a backup center or just a backup interior offensive lineman in general. I think that this was a really solid pickup for the New England Patriots. Ah, yes. Now you go over to the Philadelphia Eagles, who, of course, they were one of my big winners in the draft. I think for me personally, they had the second or third best draft class out of the entire NFL. And they add Gabe Hall, who I thought was going to be a candidate to sneak into the back end of day two, just because of his overall athleticism, his power, his get off, and his size 6'6, 294 pounds. I want to say just has, I mean, look, he carries 294 pounds at 6'6 really, really well. Super strong, super speedy. Acceleration off the snap is fantastic as well. I think this is someone that the Philadelphia Eagles can turn into a great situational defensive tackle pass rusher, someone that's going to rush the passer on third down and long, obvious pass rushing situations, third and long, second and long, all that kind of stuff where you want to get pressure. Gabe Hall is going to be someone that I think is a real sleeper for the Philadelphia Eagles. I absolutely love this pickup. I was curious as to why they didn't really address defensive line at all. And then I saw Gabe Hall as an undrafted free agent. I was like, all right, that makes a lot of sense. That is a fantastic pickup for them. I love that. Now you have Drake Nugent here from the San Francisco 49ers. And I'll be honest with you, the way that the Michigan Wolverines offensive linemen are coached, I would probably take a Michigan offensive lineman over almost anyone at that point. Really, really nice pickup for the San Francisco 49ers, who have some difficult decisions to make over the next couple years for their free agency. Drake Nugent is someone that came in a little undersized at the combine, 6'3", 299 pounds. Under that 300-pound bill is a little tough to sell at the NFL level, but he's technically refined. He's a really good player, and we saw so many Michigan offensive linemen go throughout the draft. Ladarius Henderson, another one. Zach Zinter, with Tyler Keegan is Trevor Keegan as well, Trent Jones, all these guys, undrafted free agents or later round picks. Zach Zinter, I feel like, was a fantastic pickup for the Cleveland Browns. I love this pickup for the San Francisco 49ers, someone that's going to offer some real depth behind Jake Brendel. Could be your starting center at some point relatively soon. So I love this pickup for the 49ers. And like I said, these Michigan offensive linemen are just coached so well that I would take them over the majority of teams' offensive linemen, to be quite honest with you. South Dakota State had an offensive lineman taken relatively early on in day three. Mason McCormick went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Absolutely loved that pick. They had my best draft class, personally. I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers had the best draft out of any team in the NFL. They added a South Dakota State lineman with a ton of experience, and the Seattle Seahawks do it right here with Garrett Greenfield. I was surprised Garrett Greenfield did not get drafted. Someone with a ton of experience, versatility as well in either tackle position, high RAS score. I was surprised the team didn't take a chance on him earlier on, but like I said, this was a super deep offensive line class, so a few of these guys were definitely going to fall. But this is much needed for the Seattle Seahawks, a team that has, Charles Cross is a good player, hasn't really lived up to his draft spot just yet. And then Abe Lucas is really, really good on that right side, but his long-term health comes into question. You need a contingency plan. The Seattle Seahawks do, and I think Garrett Greenfield is an elite pickup in undrafted free agent territory. Love that for them. Going back to the Carolina Panthers, the only team that made it to my list twice. I looked over the list a bunch of times, and I usually try and do 15 different teams. I don't like to include multiple players from one team, but Jackson Mitchell going to the Carolina Panthers in undrafted free agency, I feel like was fantastic. Mitchell was one of those guys that I thought could have been a sixth-round pick as a elite coverage linebacker, just a fantastic quarterback of the defense for UConn. I know they go up against, smaller school competition being a independent, but he is someone that flashed all over the tape when you watch. He is someone that's in on every single play as a depth linebacker that could be used in coverage spots. I think this is a fantastic pickup for the Carolina Panthers. Love Jackson Mitchell, 6 foot, 230 pounds. So he comes with more of that athletic build. As you can see, he is a monster for 230 pounds. This is someone that I think is going to be a true coverage linebacker at the next level. And I think he's going to do a really good job for them. I love this pickup for them. And then the scariest face picture on ESPN for any college player, in my opinion. We come to Keith Randolph Jr. here for the Chicago Bears. Love this as a depth piece. I thought when you watch Illinois tape, obviously Jerzon Newton pops off, the screen at you as someone that is just overwhelmingly elite. But then Keith Randolph had some really, really nice reps in there too. In a shallow pool of defensive line talent in this past draft class here in 2024, I thought Keith Randolph was a lock to be drafted, at least in the 6th or 7th round, and he landed an undrafted free agency. And the Chicago Bears were a team that traded back into the draft to get Austin Booker. They didn't address the interior of the defensive line. They have some good players there. They re-signed Andrew Billings from last year. They have Gervon Dexter. They have Zach Pickens. But Keith Randolph is someone that I could see being that elite. Yeah, I said elite for an undrafted free agent. That elite rotational defensive tackle that is just an excellent run stopper, someone that brings a little bit to the table as a pass rusher as well. I think that this was a really solid pickup for the Chicago Bears, who only picked up 2 undrafted free agents, being Keith Randolph Jr. and the most handsome man in the NFL, Sam Hartman. All right, the Detroit Lions here with Isaiah Williams. I thought that this was a really, really nice pickup. This is someone that I had on my board as one of those later wide receivers. I thought 6th round, 7th round. Athletically, he's not really. It's funny because the tape, he looks incredibly agile, incredibly shifty, but the athletic testing just wasn't there for him, and I think that's the reason why he slid to undrafted free agent territory. But the Detroit Lions get a really, really nice player here, a gadget type of wide receiver that you could throw the ball, wide receiver screens, short, quick passes, let him get in the open field and run with the football in his hands. That's exactly what Isaiah Williams brings to the table, and I love this pickup for the Detroit Lions. And right here, we have one of the, we have one of the cover boys here for my thumbnail. This is Blake Watson here. And I think Blake Watson has an early path to getting some real playing time for the Denver Broncos. After Javonte Williams, it was really nothing behind him. I think Samachia Perine is still there. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's not really stopping me from adding a running back here. They drafted Audric Estime, which I thought was a really nice 1-2 punch with Javonte Williams. He doesn't offer too much running outside the tackles, but inside the tackles, he's going to be your goal line back, and it's going to be tough to stop Estime. But Blake Watson is someone that I thought could offer some really nice 3rd down appeal as one of those. He reminds me of like an Anton Smith, if you guys remember him, for the Atlanta Falcons, someone that didn't really get too much playing time, but when he did play, he was always scoring like 40 or 50-yard touchdowns. He would get like 3 touches a game, and one of them would go for like a 40 or 50-yard touchdown. That's what I think Blake Watson brings. He also comes from a really nice pedigree as a Memphis running back as well. So, those guys seem to do really, really well in the NFL. You think Tony Pollard right off the top of your head. So I think that this is a really nice landing spot for him. I think he has an early path to play. I think he could be a very, very nice kick returner with these new rules as well. And then we're going to talk about my last one here. Again, another grainy image. I don't know why it comes out like this, to be honest with you. But it's the Arizona Cardinals picking up undrafted free agent Xavier Weaver out of Colorado. This is someone that, to be quite honest with you, was going to be on this list regardless if he got drafted or, well, obviously he couldn't be on this list if he was drafted. I kind of figured he was going to be a UDFA. I had a conversation with a commenter, I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago, saying that I think in other draft classes, I think Xavier Weaver is easily a day 3 pick or a 5th or 6th round pick, but it was just too deep of a class, to be honest with you. He falls to UDFA territory, and the Arizona Cardinals pick him up. And this is a really nice option as well as a 4th or 5th wide receiver in this wide open Arizona Cardinals offense for what they have. They're adjusting the depth chart accordingly. You think right away you have Marvin Harrison Jr. as your number 1. Greg Dortch is in there as well. Trey McBride is going to be a very, very solid option, maybe even Tip Ryman, who they drafted in the 3rd round. But Xavier Weaver might have a path to play, and he's a really, really solid player. Obviously got overlooked this past year with all the fanfare with Colorado, with Shadur Sanders, with Travis Hunter, but he was as solid as they come and as consistent as they come for Colorado last year. So I think that's a really nice pickup, low-key, and undrafted free agency for the Arizona Cardinals. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is my top 15 undrafted free agent signings from the 2024 NFL Draft. We are coming to a close with content for the short-term future here. This is my second to last video of this cycle. My last, of course, being my 2025 way too early mock draft as well. So that will be coming out tomorrow if you are watching this on Sunday afternoon. And that will be my final video for about a month. I'm going to take a small hiatus from YouTube. I need a break 100%. Also working on a couple things behind the scenes for next year that I'm super excited about. And I need a little bit of time to work on those as well. So thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.